up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hills Are Silent podcast. I am Two-Tone the Artist.
And I am a sick Mitch the Peach.
And even through sickness and health, we like to shut it up about the games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Thank you for joining us again. Got some good stuff to talk about on this episode. Mitch, I'm going to roll right into it. You know, we like to do pickups and discuss what we picked up. And man, are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm so ready. I saw your stack before we started recording here, and I am excited.
It's a lot. For those listening, you won't be able to see this, but for those watching, here's a sneak peek of the stack. I know, man, it's a little cray-cray, but there's a common theme between all these games, and I'll explain that at the moment. So for those that don't know, my first kid is on the way. I'm having a daughter, and I'm hoping and praying that she likes to play video games, but she may not. That may not be one of her interests. But I have a lot of fond memories of being a little kid and my mom spending hours upon hours playing the original Nintendo Entertainment System. Yes, the OG NES with me. Many great co-op games, or even just playing the original Super Mario Bros., passing the controller between levels. I'm very grateful for that. It was a great bonding moment between my mother and I, and I want to pass that on to my daughter when she's born. But like I said, she may not even like video games. Her mother does not really like video games, so we'll see. Okay. But in the meantime, I picked up this stack of cooperative games, couch co-op games, for her and I to play together when she's old enough to hold a controller. And the theme is the Lego games.
Okay, that's a good one.
So a buddy of mine who's been a dad, he's already a dad, he's been a dad much longer than I have, and which is no time at all, but you know what I'm saying. He recommended the Lego games as a great game to start kids out on. He told me, he's like, man, they're couch co-op, and they're actually tons of fun. So I went out and basically nabbed every Lego game that was released, not on a handheld console. I think there's maybe one or two I did not pick up because the reviews were just so bad. I know the Lego Movie 2, the video game, was not well received, so I skipped that one. And maybe there's one other I'm missing, but I'm about to crank through these real fast because we got a lot of other stuff to cover. So anyway, first and foremost, Lego Indiana Jones.
Nice.
Heard that's a classic.
With our last episode.
Yeah. See, you foreshadowed it, man. Our last episode, we talked about the new Indiana Jones game coming out, and I mentioned that, hey, there's already been Indiana Jones games, and I think you chimed in. We're like, yeah, man, Lego did one. I was like, man. Somehow Mitch always knows. He knows what we're going to talk about next. All right, next up, like I said, I'm just going to crank through these. Batman 2, DC superheroes. And for those who are just listening in, this whole stack I'm going through at the beginning is just the Xbox 360 games. The OG Batman, the video game.
I played that one.
Star Wars 3. And what did you think of the original Batman one when you played it? And how old were you when you played it?
Probably high school.
Okay.
I think because when I had a prime 360 days. Okay. Those are great to play just like as an adult, man. Those are great games.
Yeah, like I said, that's what my buddy told me, and I'm like, if I can enjoy it and my daughter can enjoy it, that much better. Because the last thing I really want is to sit there and have to play a game that's like so dumbed down for kids that it's just like
like the
not fun
Peppa
for me.
Pig one that you had at one point.
What was that?
Like the Peppa Pig one that you had at one point?
Yeah, exactly. Like I would not probably play Peppa Pig or something like that, or some educational game. All right, next up. Oh, first of all, what made you play Batman the video game in high school? I feel like that's an odd one for a high schooler to pick up.
I borrowed it from a friend who had it, and he said he really liked it or something. Maybe my cousin or something along those lines, but I didn't own it. I think somebody had it, and I I got it from them just to try out. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. I like this.
All right, interesting. So it's basically like a recommendation, I guess. It wasn't something you
Yeah.
just sought out on your own. So did you play it
Nope.
co-op with somebody else?
No, I just played it. Well, maybe somebody came over and we played a little bit of co-op, but I want to say I played a lot of it on my own.
Yeah, for those
As
who've
an
been
only child, I only have a certain amount of people that and they got to come over and play. I don't have a brother or sister during those times.
Yeah, but for those who've been following the podcast for a while, man, Mitch and I love couch co-op games. And it's kind of like a rare thing nowadays because everything's like, oh, you can just play with somebody else online. But there's just nothing like sitting down next to somebody and cranking through a game. It's just like an actual in-person connection. You're right there. You're feeling the vibes, eating snacks, talking about the game while you're playing it. And yeah, you just feel the energy, especially if it's like an intense game. Maybe like going through Gears of War or something, couch co-op. Man, I love that. Or the Halo games.
Yeah, even when like Xbox Live became a big thing during the 360 era, I think I've talked about this on the pod before, but I would still a bunch of neighborhood guys or even people that were not in the neighborhood would still come over, bring their consoles, and we'd have a bunch of us just playing Xbox Live, but in the same room together.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
So it was the same thing. We just were in the same room playing online against people, and it was a blast.
Yeah, there's something to be said about just actually having your friends right next to you. And when I was growing up, yeah, around the time Xbox 360 was out, and even the original Xbox and Xbox Live was really taking off, my room was upstairs on the second floor. And
I remember.
at the time, I'm sure Wi-Fi existed, but at the time it was not commonplace like it is today. It probably was a luxury back then. Now Wi-Fi is everywhere. At that time, I didn't even know Wi-Fi was a thing if it did exist. So I would have to bring my console down to connect it to the modem because the modem was on the first floor, and then that's when I would play Xbox Live. But 90% of the time, my Xbox was upstairs in my bedroom, and yeah, it was my buddies coming over, and that's how we were playing through video games.
I don't think the wireless capability was like super reliable during those times too, because like I played in the basement, but my computer room of my parents was up on the top floor of our house. So shout out to John. His dad is an electrician, and he made me like this custom like huge Ethernet cord, and you ran it through our home into like basically through the walls and put it in like it ended up in the basement, so I could just plug it right into my Xbox.
That is awesome that he did that for you.
Yeah. There's one day he just came over. He's like, "Yeah, I did this for John too," or something like that. And
Hell
he
yeah,
knew how
man.
like big we were into the online gaming, and he understood like the connection sucked, like for wireless going from basement to top floor.
Yeah. Did it take some convincing to get your dad to approve of him like drilling through the floor or something?
Not really. My dad was just like, he's like, whatever, that's what he does in the basement all the time anyway. So might as well make it the best for him, or he's gonna keep complaining to me.
Dude, awesome. All right, man. Next up, Lego Disney Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nice.
Lego Indiana Jones 2. I heard this one was not as good as the first one, but I don't know. It seemed like the reviews are kind of harsh on it. I'm sure it's still fun. Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga for Xbox 360. This is interesting to me because apparently some of the first of these types of Lego games were released on the original Xbox, and they released like Star Wars Episode 1 through 3 is one game, and Star Wars Episode 4 through 6 is another game, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But then when the Xbox 360 came out, they re-released both those games combined in one collection.
We love a good collection.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I did my research, and I'm always looking for like what's the definitive edition, or what's gonna have the best frame rate or resolution as far as consoles go. I know like PC is king, but definitely get the Xbox 360 Complete Saga as opposed to getting the ones on the OG Xbox. Next up is Lego Lord of the Rings.
I was hoping you got that one. I actually want to play that one now as an adult.
Yeah, this one's the one out of all these. This one's probably the hardest one to come by, and the one that's creeping up in price the most. I think I paid like maybe 15 or 20. Everything else that I'm showing you was less than $15. Like on average, it was probably like $10 per game. But this one seems to be the most sought after, most expensive one. And the cheapest place I saw it was at my local Second and Charles, and it was the PS3 version. Normally, if it's a game that's released on PS3 and Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 version is like the superior one. It's usually slightly better performance. But in this case, I'm like, it's a Lego game. Like, how graphically intensive can it be?
Yeah.
I'm sure it runs fine on the PlayStation 3. And, not trying to break the bank, so I just picked up this disc-only PS3 version. All right, I'm just going to crank through these, man. If you have one you've played, stop me. If not, I'm just going to go through them. Lego City Undercover, which apparently is like pretty much Lego Grand Theft Auto, which I thought was interesting. Lego The Incredibles.
I didn't know about that one.
Lego DC Supervillains. And these are all PlayStation 4 at this point for those listening in. Lego Harry Potter Collection.
Yeah, I wanted to play this one too because you know how much I love Harry Potter.
Yeah, again, this is one that comes with multiple games on one disc, which is awesome. Again, that one was like $10 or $11. Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Lego The Movie, the video game. Batman 3 Beyond. Oh, there goes my camera. Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. Lego The Ninjago movie video game.
Holy crap! These titles are getting crazy.
Yeah. Lego The Hobbit.
Nice. I didn't know they did a Hobbit one.
Lego Jurassic World. Which that one looks like it's gonna be fun. Yeah, definitely like the Harry Potter ones are probably gonna be fun. The Star Wars ones I'm expecting to be good. And the
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah. Lego Brawls, which apparently is like a Super Smash Bros. Style game.
Cool.
Lego Marvel Collection. This is a good one. It actually has 3 games on one disc.
Man.
So I think that's a good one to pick up to get the bang for your buck. Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. And Lego Worlds, which is like the only one of these games that's actually kind of like building with Legos. It's almost like a Minecraft.
I heard that one's really good.
Inspired game. All right, man. Huge stack of Lego games. Hopefully, my daughter likes them and has the attention span to get through them. If not,
Uncle Mitch will come over and play.
yeah. If not, I'll find somebody else to play through them with. All right, man. That was a doozy. That's it for my pickups. And in addition to that, I've been playing some games lately. I've got a handful I've been playing. Nothing I've finished yet. But what I've really been focused on lately is the God of War III Remaster. Now, I've beaten God of War 1. I've beaten God of War 2. I've beaten the 2 ones that came out on the PSP, which I think is like Chains of Olympus and... man, I can't remember what the other one is. And then I have not beaten the newer God of Wars. I've not played God of War Ragnarok. I've not beaten God of War kind of the reboot. So that leaves God of War 3 Remastered, which I'm playing through right now, God of War Ascension, and then the newer God of Wars. I love the series. I jumped in way late in the game and actually played through those first 4 games I mentioned on the PlayStation 3, because they remastered the first one and the second one on PS3, and then they remastered the PSP ones on the PS3. And those are amazing games, and they run so well on the PlayStation 3 since they're just, old ports remastered. And God of War 3 I tried to play through on the PlayStation 3 years ago. I enjoyed it, but it's a lot of the same. Like, there's no real... It's the same formula as the other games. So after playing through 4 games that all kind of had the same formula, I was a bit burnt out. Don't get me wrong, the games are super fun, but I needed a break. And then I ended up picking up the remastered edition on PlayStation 4, and I was like, all right, now's the time to jump back in. And I've been playing it. I've been loving it. So if there's any God of War fans out there, let me know. I really like the new voice actor, but man, the original voice actor of Kratos, he's so good. And when I think of the Kratos voice, I think of the original voice actor, so it's a little jarring when I play the newer games. Although they kind of have a similar voice, but not really. Mitch, have you played through any of the God of Wars?
Yeah, you're saying you're late to the game. I was later to the game. The only one I've ever played and beaten was the reboot God of War. Other than that, I've not really touched any of the other ones, but I kind of missed the whole PS3 generation. I never had a PS3. It just wasn't something that, with my 360, I never felt like I really needed one. So I did miss out on some good stuff, like the God of War franchise. I ended up going back, obviously, and playing all the Uncharted franchise because they put those all into a nice collection on the PS4. But those are ones I want to go back to. I've been really like, as we'll talk about what I'm playing right now later on. I've been leaning toward older games lately. I've just really been liking playing these remasters of older games because I feel like they're classics to me.
Yeah, same here. And actually, some of the other games I've been playing lately have been remasters, but I'll talk about those on a future episode when I get farther along. Yeah, I was late to the PlayStation 3 game too. I had an Xbox 360 for years before I picked up a PS3. I actually won my PlayStation 3 at Dave & Buster's. I used to work there as an arcade technician, and working behind the scenes, you learn the ins and outs of the games, which ones are like complete scams and which ones are a little bit more based in and I don't know, based on skill.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ones based on skill are like actually physics based. If you step up to a game and it's all digital, it's all a computer, don't even mess with it. It's going to be a scam. But things that actually involve like dropping balls or dropping coins or moving parts, that's a little harder to cheat people on. Yes, there are ways you can still make it very difficult, but there is more of a chance for actual skill when it's based in real world physics. So there's a few of those games I got really good at. And I just on my downtime, I would just master them, and to the point where I could like hit the jackpots repeatedly. And then I would go to another Dave & Buster's that I didn't work at, because the Dave & Buster's, you technically weren't supposed to play the redemption games on your days off if you work at Dave & Buster's, because it's ripe for exploit.
Yeah.
And which I guess was what I was doing, but I was paying money. It wasn't like I was stealing credits behind the scene and coming back and like with stolen credits. Like I was paying my money, but I ended up getting a PlayStation 3 for below what it costed at retail at the time, just based off the skills I had gained at playing those redemption games. Then at that point, it was catch-up time. Play through the God of Wars, play through the Uncharteds, play through the Killzones, all the exclusives that I didn't get a chance to play because I only had a 360 up to that point. But yeah, I think it's a good time to roll into what you've been playing. So
yeah,
you jumped in a remaster too. What game is that?
I did. I've been jumping into Alan Wake Remastered, and I've been wanting to play the most recently released Alan Wake 2, but I felt like I needed to go back and play Alan Wake 1 again, because I did play it and beat it on the 360 back in the day, but it'd been so long, I remembered absolutely nothing about it, so I was like, I think it's a great time to check out this remaster. I got it for, I think, on the Xbox store, was on sale for like $7, so I was like, absolutely, like, yeah, I'll jump in for that price. And honestly, like a really, really, really well done remaster. I was playing, at that point, I was playing both Hellblade 2 that had just come out, and all my time I just kept wanting to go back to the Alan Wake remaster.
Oh yeah,
because they've just been doing they did such good work on the remaster itself, and the game itself is just a great concept as far as I don't know, shining your flashlight on enemies before you can take them out. Just really like using the light to your advantage as far as like the combat in that game. I know some people had gripes about it not being like as like horror based as they thought, like going in. It's kind of more of a thriller, but there are some spooky moments with it. I think it's cool that it's all just like narrated too. Like the whole thing, it's like it's Nathan I was almost said Nathan Drake because we're talking about Uncharted. Alan Wake. It's from his perspective, and he's talking through and narrating what he's doing the whole time. So like if he goes somewhere and like the door's locked, he like talks about it like through like if you're reading it through a book, the door is locked. He could not go there right now. He needs to find a key. So I liked all like the dialogue around that. It was cool, and the story is actually pretty good. For those who don't know, he and his wife go to. They're in the Pacific Northwest. They go to a cabin to get away because Alan Wake is struggling writing a new book, and she thought that this could maybe clear his mind and help him get some passion to write something or jog his mind to start writing. And then a bunch of creepy stuff starts happening, starting with his wife going missing. So a really cool story. The remaster's so well done. Like it ran buttery smooth the whole time. Physics were great. I mean, it's just something about that Xbox 360 era and PS3 era with stuff coming out. Like the games were like so simple. Like as far as like, it really was just kind of like almost like Gears of War style, like where you just go room like area to area. You clear out the enemies. You find collectibles along the way. You advance the story. Like it's very simple. But I really liked how simple it was. Like I liked going out of my way and finding some of the collectibles, which I think were like coffee thermoses, and then something else that you collected as well along the way. So honestly, yeah, great game. I love the setting of the Pacific Northwest. I'm really excited to play the second one because the second one got really good reviews. And I was hoping Limited Run actually just put a regular standard version out to buy because I would have gotten. I would have definitely purchased a standard version, but they only have this big collector's box for Alan Wake 2.
Yeah, I saw that. I was kind of shocked by that as well. So yeah, I played through Alan Wake when it first came out on Xbox 360, and I remember really liking it. I think I rented it or something and played through it in just a few days. It was definitely an enjoyable game. Does the remaster contain the expansion, American Nightmares?
It does not, no.
Really? That's odd.
I don't think it does. I didn't find any option into it because I was going to play through the DLC as well if available, but it didn't find any option. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, find out because that's shocking to me. Typically, when remasters are put out, it's like the complete game with all the DLCs. So I would be surprised if it does not include the expansion, the standalone expansion. That I never played through. And I'm surprised I never played through it because I liked the first game so much.
Yeah, I see a Reddit thread here. It says, "What's American Nightmare? Why wasn't it in the remaster?" American Nightmare was an Xbox. I don't know. It doesn't look like it was, but maybe I'm.
Maybe they didn't release a reason why it wasn't included.
Maybe not.
Well,
but yeah, I've heard American Night. I've never played American Nightmare, but you can play. It is backwards compatible on the Xbox Series X, so maybe I go back and just purchase it separately and play it.
Yeah, and also you can get it on GOG.com for pretty cheap for PC as well. I think at some point I'll pick that up if I haven't already. For all I know, it's probably sitting in my GOG library. We're just waiting to be played.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm looking at IGN. The bonus 2 episodes that originally paid DLC, The Signal and The Writer, are also included with Alan Wake Remastered, but that's not American Nightmare. And they come complete with the same level of visual polish.
Oh, I didn't know that it had some free DLC back in the day either.
It's 2 epilogue episodes.
Oh, I do remember that. I played through
really
that.
No idea what the meaning is behind it at all.
I do remember playing through those. See, that was cool too about that era. Like Xbox 360, sometimes there'd be like prologues and stuff, or just some real small extra chapter that would be released for free, aside from like paid DLC. But to what we were talking about earlier, yeah, I don't know. I've been itching to play some older games lately as well, especially the Xbox 360 PS3 era, and that's probably why I jumped back in God of War 3. But it just felt like a lot of those games were more focused. It was that perfect medium ground because it used to be very small teams that developed games, and they would be more simple experiences. But then around the era of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, budgets started ballooning, teams started getting larger. But I think it was that perfect balance of a budget being just big enough to make something cool and epic, and you have good graphics, but not so big that it's just all over the place, trying to do everything at once, trying to figure out how to actually get the game done and have it make everybody like it so that it makes its enormous budget back. Like, there is kind of like a scale of problems that scale when projects get bigger and bigger. And I just think the Xbox 360 era was that perfect era of large teams, but were small enough to remain focused. And the games are just engaging enough to keep you interested most of the way through. I think more games on Xbox 360 I was actually finishing all the way through than any other point in my life, but it also could have been because I had more spare time. But I think that now with games, it's just, I don't know, I lose interest quicker despite the fact that there's more to do and deeper mechanics and stuff. Sometimes it's just too much. And I do miss that era. And there's still games coming out today that are akin to that. But yeah, they're just, things were coming into realistic graphics, but yet still kind of fun, arcadey focused gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, and I want to quickly go back to like what you were saying with like bigger budgets, bigger development teams, almost bigger problems in some points. And I think that was, I was just talking about Hellblade 2, and I won't get deep into that by any means. I just wanted to touch on it though. But I think Ninja Theory as a developer might have ran into that with what they did with Hellblade 1 and then into Hellblade 2. Obviously, I think it was a smaller team at that point with Hellblade 1, and then they went into Hellblade 2 and had this big, huge budget being acquired by Microsoft. And it's a visually beautiful, cinematic masterpiece of a game. Like, don't get me wrong, great. But, like, I think they went away from a lot of the stuff that was, like, really charming and like, just, like, worked really well in Hellblade 1, and then kind of made Hellblade 2 more of, like, a movie than, like, a game. And I think maybe the bigger budget might have hurt them in that aspect. But I kind of just wanted to connect the dots of where you were saying, where as we go along, the bigger teams, the bigger budgets, like sometimes it's a little, it hurts more than it helps sometimes.
Yeah, which is surprising because you would think that if you hand a studio that made something great, just hand them more money, give them more resources, they'll make something even better. But yeah, it's kind of defies logic in that sometimes that can have the opposite effect. Sometimes people do incredible things based off their limitations at that moment.
Yep, that's well put.
All right, man, I definitely need to play through Alan Wake again. You got me wanting to go back.
Remaster's fantastic. I highly recommend it to anybody who's even never played Alan Wake. Like, excellent job on it. Like, I had like zero bugs. Just still it out all the actual Xbox 360 charm of that Alan Wake, but then it just looks visually better and runs a little better.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Hate to end on a sad note, but any of our longtime listeners know that we like to call out games that are getting delisted. And for those who aren't aware, we now live in this digital world, and this is why I'm totally all for physical games. A, because you actually own the game forever, as long as you have that physical disc. And you own the game forever, but when we're living in a digital world, unfortunately, those games are not always playable. They're not always available. And what happens a lot of times is games get delisted. They get taken off Steam. They get taken off Xbox Marketplace, Nintendo Online, PlayStation Store. And then, bam, you just lose access to it. And that's it. And then all that hard work that, as we were just speaking about, these hundreds of people and millions of dollars spent to make these incredible projects, the actual project they created just poof. Now nobody can get it anymore. And it's happening again. So, Mitch, what game is it this time that's ending up on the chopping block?
Yeah, this one was a shocker, actually. It is Microsoft-owned studio from Playground Games, but the game is Forza Horizon 4, and did not come out that long ago. I want to say, when did Forza Horizon 4 come out? Forza Horizon 4 release date come out in 2018, so really not that long ago.
Yeah, dude, that is not that old.
No, which is kind of shocking. The reason why it is being delisted is because of licensing issues. We are speculating that we think that it is delisted because of its losing license to certain cars within this specific game itself, because obviously there is a Forza Horizon 5 right now, which I do love, by the way. But they do kind of note within their statement that you can't get any access to the DLC cars anymore. So it kind of hints toward there must be some sort of issue with their licensing to the cars, which makes sense. That they do a great job in Forza Horizon of putting every car imaginable into that game. I remember in Forza Horizon 4 specifically, I would try to find my exact Volkswagen Golf that I drove all throughout high school and into college. And I would just soup it up so that it was so fast and you could run races and it would like compete with like top-notch cars. Just me and this little tiny Volkswagen, like,
dude, that is hilarious. You're given this game where you can drive any car you would ever imagine, and you drive the old regular ass car you had growing up.
Yep, it just yeah. You could put your little like customized license plate on the back. So just have like Peach on the back of my license plate. Just me and this little puddle jump Volkswagen Golf just zooming around on that. I don't know. It gave me joy. I definitely would check out the nice Lambos and Dodge Chargers and whatnot. But yeah, it gave me joy like finding my car in there and souping it up.
Yeah, but before we move on to the next point on this, just to reiterate what you said, yeah, it's likely them losing the license to the cars. And we've talked about this in the past, especially with games that are very music heavy. For example, Grand Theft Auto was not the original Grand Theft Auto games at one point in time. They weren't delisted from Steam, but the publisher went back in and removed a bunch of music from the game because the licenses to use that music in the game had expired. And at that point, it was either too expensive or too much of a hassle, or they just weren't allowed to renew the license on that. And that's why, again, it's like if you own that physical copy, that music is on that disc. I can still pop in Grand Theft Auto on my PlayStation 2 to this day, and the same game it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whenever it came out.
Yeah, to add on to that point, though, like I own the remastered collection disc of Grand Theft Auto, which is 3, Vice City, and San Andreas.
Yeah.
But yeah, they literally stripped all that music out. There's only like a very limited amount of radio stations that you can pick from.
Yeah, and that makes a huge difference because music sets the mood when you're driving around and playing Grand Theft Auto. And same thing with the Guitar Hero, Rock Band games, anything that's just very music heavy. It's a chance that that game is going to get pulled when it becomes no longer financially feasible or financially justifiable to renew that. And I have a feeling that's what Forza Horizon 4 ran into, where there's just not enough people buying this game anymore to justify going back and renewing all these licenses to be able to use these cars in this game.
Right.
But anyway,
I think that's it's a good transition to good transition to the next point. So because of this, it being delisted, they're doing a couple things. First, they are putting it on basically a super sale. I think it said 80% off for the Ultimate Edition. So I think $20 will get you both the game, which is expansive just by itself, and then all their DLC content as well, which is a lot of car packs. And then they have, I'm trying to think what 4 partnered with. I think 4 might have partnered with Lego, and they have like a Lego DLC maybe, or Hot Wheels DLC, one of the two. They usually partner with Lego and Hot Wheels a lot. And then they have one of their own DLC where they add like a new area to Forza Horizon 4 is in England, so they added probably a new area in England. So they did that. They put on super sale. So if you've never played any of the Forza Horizon games, I really think like 4 is a great one. Honestly, I put a lot of hours into that. So and $20 for all that content, That's a steal. I mean, I think I paid $20 for just their like car pass, like their season pass type thing that gives you all the stuff they release along the way. So highly worth it. But the really cool thing, which I think more developers should do this now, and it might be because they're owned by Xbox, they figure they can just do this. But I actually myself got a code because I bought DLC content within Forza Horizon 4. They gave me a code for the game for free that I could redeem, which I just did before we actually got started recording, so I can continue playing the game even after it's delisted.
Yeah, and to give some context to that, so you were playing the game on Game Pass. That's how you were playing it, and then you went beyond that and bought DLC to play for the game through Game Pass. So you never technically owned the game, but you did purchase DLC that you owned, and because of that, correct, they're hooking you up with the actual base game.
Yeah, you got it. I'll read a couple of the statements that give a little bit more detail, but yeah, that's a good point. I never owned the game. I just had it on Game Pass because if it was there, I thought it would always be there. But it says through their actual Forza Horizon website, if you played Forza Horizon 4 through Xbox Game Pass and purchased DLC content for it, worry not. By having an active, full-paid, not discounted Xbox Game Pass subscription on $6.25, you'll be eligible to receive a game token if you have purchased any extra content for Forza Horizon 4 through your Xbox Message Center. Codes will start being delivered the following days. Please bear in mind it might take a while to get your token. I had seen, I think maybe like from Twitter or like from TikTok or something where they were like hinting at like people were saying that this is being delisted and they were giving out free games. So I'm like, I wonder if I got one. And I looked at my messages and sure enough, I got a message from them. And it just says, thank you for playing Forza Horizon 4 with Xbox Game Pass. This game will no longer be available with Game Pass or purchasable within the Microsoft Store after 12/15/2024. As a token of our appreciation for your purchase of add-on content, here's a code for the digital standard edition to continue enjoying the game.
That's pretty awesome. I will say that is an awesome move by Microsoft to do that. And that happens sometimes. I know, like with GOG.com, sometimes right before games get delisted from there, they'll just give it away for free. Because most of the time, once you own it, you can continue to download it and play it. Yeah. It's just new people cannot purchase it because usually there's something written in the license agreements that when somebody buys it, basically that license carries on for those users. That was not the case in Grand Theft Auto because, like I said, they went back in even for the people who already owned it and stripped out all the music. But what they really should have done is anybody that is newly purchasing it after the license, they don't have the music, but anybody that already purchased it should have retained the ability to play the game with all its music. Right. So yeah, nab Forza Horizon 4 while you can. It sounds like that is a really good deal for that Ultimate Edition. And man.
Yeah, I'll go back to it probably, soon. I always go back to Forza Horizons because they're like the best car racing game out there. So I always re-download 5. I re-download 4 sometimes and go back. So I'm glad that I got the free one because I'll definitely go back to it. They're both 4 and 5 are both visually as beautiful as you can get. So like it doesn't matter which one you play, they're both great.
Yeah. All right, man. Another game getting delisted. Maybe someday this will get resurrected after its delisting somehow. We can only hope. But we see it happen time and time again. We've talked about it many times on the podcast. Marvel Ultimate Alliance being delisted because they lose the license to the Marvel characters, and so on and so forth. Any last words on Forza Horizon 4, Mitch?
Nope, nothing.
All right, man, cool. I think that wraps it up for everything we wanted to talk about this episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. You can find all our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Where else can we be found, Mitch?
Yeah, you can find us on all our social media accounts. Our Twitter is @HillsAreSilent. Our Instagram is Instagram.com/HillsAreSilent. Our TikTok is @TheHillsAreSilent Podcast. And our YouTube, again, is @TheHillsAreSilent. If you have any questions, comments, send us at our email inbox, hillsaresilent@gmail.com, or our YouTube comments, Spotify comments, Apple Podcast comments, anywhere. We'll find them. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode.